Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Raylene Marks, your host, bringing you the top stories from Israel and surrounds every Monday to Thursday right here and on YouTube. And you can find us at the Israel Brief. And if you would like your daily update, all you have to do is click on the big red subscribe button. Now, how are you guys all doing? I know many of you are either in lockdown or under some kind of restriction or cannot see your family at this time of the year. And even if you don't celebrate Christmas and the upcoming festivals, I know this is traditionally a time a lot of us are on holiday and get together with our families. And this year is a little different. And we just wanted to see how you're all doing and to remind you that we're not going anywhere. We're going to bring you the news from Israel every Monday to Thursday as normal as we go on. And while we're talking about lockdowns, it looks like Israel will be heading into a 3-week lockdown. This is the advice of the health minister, Yuli Edelstein. It has the backing of both Prime Minister Netanyahu and Benny Gantz, the defense minister, and currently, although this will change, alternate prime minister, and also the coronavirus czar, Nachman Ash, who said that this is a crisis that is unavoidable, and if we don't want 3,000 more deaths, we're going to have to go into a period of lockdown. But some good news: after 3 days of vaccinations, Israel is at about half of what the UK's output or the UK's vaccinations are already. And some are even speculating that Israel could have herd immunity by the time Pesach or Passover comes around, which is about March, April next year. So that vaccination drive or vaccination rollout is underway in Israel, and many people are signing up, especially over the age of 60, to make sure that they are vaccinated and that life can return to some kind of normality. However, we do have some comment coming in from the IDF earlier today saying that it is their estimation that this second mutation of the coronavirus is in the country, and they are concerned, and this is also possibly one of the reasons why we are locking down. And some who are in a coronavirus quarantine hotel in Jerusalem are saying that the hotel is rife with this second strain, which has possibly been brought in by people coming in from overseas. And I know that earlier this week, Israel, as we reported, closed our airspace first to visitors from the UK, South Africa and Denmark because of this mutation. And we are currently in a state where we have closed all our airspace except to incoming diplomats. While we are talking about diplomats, let's take a trip to Morocco. Yesterday's trip was a very exciting and successful one. Both delegations have left. The US delegation are on their way back to Washington, DC, and the Israeli delegation left in the early hours of the morning so that they could beat the mandatory quarantine in hotels before they landed. That went into effect at lunchtime today. But what was discussed? Who did they meet with? Let's give you the details. Yesterday, the delegations met with the King of Morocco to pay their respects to him, and also laid a wreath at the grave of one of the previous kings to pay their respects to the Moroccan monarchy. But a lot of discussion, signing contracts on water, aviation. We're hoping to resume flights pretty soon. In fact, Jared Kushner is quoted as saying to the Moroccans, there have been so many Israelis visiting the UAE, at least 50,000 in November, and he reckons Morocco could give the UAE, in terms of Israeli visitors, a big run for its money. And I have to agree there. But also, very importantly, what was discussed is the mutual opening of liaison offices in Tel Aviv and in Rabat. Now, I hear some of you saying, why liaison office, why not embassies? These are hopefully to grow into embassies, and full diplomatic relations will be in place by the end of January. So one of the reasons why it's currently just liaison offices is because Israel and Morocco had very low-level diplomatic relations before the year 2000. However, just before the Second Intifada, which started around 2001, Morocco pulled its diplomatic mission from Israel. And those offices are still in Tel Aviv. They are not occupied at the moment, as are ours in Rabat. But hopefully within the next couple of weeks, they will be opened, they will be functioning, and we can get on with the important business of bilateral relations. So very, very successful, and of course, very, very heartwarming to see the growing peace, and this time a very, very warm peace between the two countries. And our last story of the day takes us to a place where, listen, I'm not sure what the relationships are like there at the moment, but it is official as of midnight last night. The Knesset dissolved, and once again, Israel is on the path to elections. What can I say? We love democracy so much here in Israel that we're doing it for a fourth time in 2 years. So where we stand as follows is that at the moment, elections will be on the 23rd of March. This is barring any vote coming in from the Knesset that changes that date. Earlier today, it was announced by Naftali Bennett, he is the chairperson of the New Right, that he will be challenging Prime Minister Netanyahu, Gideon Sa'ar, and Yair Lapid for the prime ministership. So the race is on, people. And several Likud members saying today that they are going to call for primaries so that they can get those lists, those important lists about who will represent Likud, however successful they are in the elections in the Knesset. So once again, Israel is on election watch. And those are the top stories. And just remember, if you're looking for something lovely to read during your lockdown, we have you covered. You can check us out on our website at www.layoftheland.online. If you are ever curious about what Christmas is like in Israel, we have a whole lot of material that's up there. Some of it will be posted to our Facebook page. All you have to do is either look through our archives. It's super easy. You can type in your keywords, or check us out on Facebook. And while you're there, if you haven't already, please give us a like or a follow, and hey, invite your friends. It's a party. We are also on YouTube, as mentioned earlier, where you can find us at the Israel Brief, and all you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button, and every time we post a brief, you will be notified. And don't forget, we're on Twitter as well, and we love to interact with people, and we love to sometimes rile some other people, and you can find us at Lay of the Land 5. So from all of us here at Lay of the Land, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. We'll chat again tomorrow.